Is there anybody out there?
The lights in the night sky. Skywatchers. We're watching. We're watching.
Did you see that?
Welcome, everybody. This is your host, Deborah Jane East with Skywatchers, and we're watching the skies in North Carolina and all over the globe. I'm excited to have a very special guest here with me this evening. Is this Albert Rosales?
Yes, it is, Albert Rosales. Nice to talk to you this afternoon.
I am so happy to talk with you because I know you don't give a whole lot of interviews. Just wanted to let you know I do appreciate you being on the show, and I know that you have a lot of investigations that you do, so it's very important to me to be able to share with everyone all of the important things that you're investigating. I want to say a little bit about you first, and I'll read the bio here, and then we have some questions. Albert Rosales is a tireless and dedicated investigator who has amassed over 17,000 worldwide humanoid reports on grays, giants, Bigfoot, yes, I did say Bigfoot, and other strange creatures, to name a few. His website, ufoinfo.com, is constantly updated and has won countless awards. He was born in Cuba in 1958, and after a short time in Spain, he migrated to the United States. He was in the Navy, where he served for 4 years and earned top-secret clearance. For the last 30 years, however, he has worked in law enforcement. Albert, the first thing I want to say when I was reading your bio is since childhood, you have had a lot of paranormal experiences. Could you share a couple of those to our listeners to just let them know what got you interested in doing the work that you're in?
Sure. I have had a lot of weird, encounters, paranormal, ET. I'm not sure where they were, but I will share one that I always think about that occurred when I was very young. This is back in Cuba, in a town called Santa Clara. I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. And I remember clearly at night there was a hallway in my house, and there was a large mirror in the center of that hallway. I remember walking through that hallway, and I looked at the mirror briefly, and in the mirror there was a man or a person looking at me. I looked behind me, there was no one there, and I looked at the mirror again. It looked to me like a bearded, those the old conquistador Spanish soldiers with a helmet and the beard. It looked just like that. This person was smiling at me or laughing.
Oh, gosh.
I couldn't really say what he was, but he had a weird expression on his face, more like a smile or a grin. More that describes it better. And it stunned me there for a second. I didn't know what to do. And then I ran to the kitchen. I told my mom. Of course, I wasn't believed. I was always told I was very imaginative. I was always afraid of the dark when I was a small child. But that's one experience that I would always remember. Now, I couldn't tell you what that entity was. I didn't really know the history of the house where I lived. So I couldn't tell you if it was a ghost or I don't know. But that's one of the ones that I remember very clearly.
Now, I know you said you told your mom. Did you share it with anybody else in your family? Did they just sort of shrug it off as a little child's imagination?
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Later on in life, I did share it with other people, but after that, nothing was done about or talked about that after that. Another experience I had also in Cuba as a child. This is I don't know if it's related, and I was soon after one of my uncle, my favorite uncle, was killed in a car accident over there, in a truck accident. I remember one afternoon, I was walking to my grandmother's house on a dirt road, and I looked up towards I don't know which direction, but I looked up to the sky. And the clouds, I could see a figure, white, and I could see it was like a humanoid figure, a human-like figure. and it appeared to be shrouded in white, and it appeared to be gesticulating or pointing at me or trying to communicate towards me or something. I looked at it, and of course I couldn't hear anything, but I could clearly see the figure moving. I stood there for a while. All I can think was, this has got to be my uncle trying to communicate with me. I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. That's all I could come up with. I kept walking, staring at the figure, and it just disappeared. But it was definitely a human-shaped figure, shrouded in a white outfit. I don't know if it was a robe or what. I couldn't really see a face because I think it was too far away from what I can remember. And that's one other instance that I do remember clearly.
Certainly not your normal childhood experiences.
No.
Well, tell everybody exactly what a humanoid means, because a lot of people don't really understand what that means, just hearing it, by itself. So explain what a humanoid could be.
Well, a humanoid is a figure or a creature that has human-like characteristics. Has a head, arms, and legs, and it very closely resembles a human, but not all completely a human. That's what is called a humanoid, or a human-like creature. But it's basically shaped like a human. Like you mentioned earlier, gray is shaped like a human, but it's not a human. It has a large head, and it's shorter, spindly arms, but it's basically humanoid in shape. That's basically what it is. Just also a Bigfoot is a humanoid, basically shaped like a human, 2 legs, arms, a head, but it's not a human. It's a huge, hairy creature. But yeah, humanoid is being something similar to a human, with human features, but not completely human.
Well, tell us what your most oddest humanoid reporting was about. Was it about a extraterrestrial, or, I was sort of laughing when earlier when I was thinking about, the Bigfoot things, because I live in North Carolina, and believe it or not, somebody at the local dollar store had pictures of what else but Bigfoot footprints. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, so you don't really think about these things. But what is your most oddest report about a humanoid?
Well, there's so many. It's really hard. I have almost close to 18,000 case summaries. Of course, not all of them have been investigated by me. I get reports worldwide from different researchers, from books, magazines. The ones that I investigate have been mostly local stuff. But I could tell you that right off the top of my head, this has to do with a UFO landing. This is back in France, 1973. And this is interesting. There was a couple. They were out parked in their vehicle, doing what couples normally do out late in their vehicle. And they noticed in a nearby field, it was cold. It was kind of snowy. An object that landed, sort of a large object shaped like a cup or a dome. And as they watched, after the object landed, a door or a hatch opened. Now, this is when it gets strange here. First, according to the couple, 2 little figures came out, small humanoid types, similar to the Greys, the popular Greys that I call. Large-headed, short. Maybe they were wearing some kind of silver color outfit, tight-fitting. They walked around. After that, another figure came out, or 2 more figures came out. These were, according to the couple, they were tall, definitely human, blonde, with what they think they have blue eyes, where they can see, and they were wearing like tight-fitting white suits or outfits, coverall. And these were definitely human. And these what some people might describe as Nordic type entities or extraterrestrials. Now, this is when it gets really weird. Now, after those 2 came out, they were surprised to see something that looked, this is in their own words, something that looked like a large ape came out of the object. And this large ape, they didn't call it Bigfoot, they call it a large ape, just stood there next to the door or the entry to the UFO as a standing guard. They said it looked huge, maybe 8 feet tall, large arms, very wide. They couldn't see a face clearly, but it looked like it was covered with dark brown hair. It stood there as the other 4 creatures, the 2 human-like creatures and the 2 short grays, walked around. And according to them, they picked up a couple items from the ground, and after a while, the 2 grays went in there first, followed by the 2 humans, and then the big ape-type creature went inside the object. The hatch or door closed, and the object took off. Now, this case was sent to me by a French researcher, his last name Bignorn, and Joel Mesnard, very known, they're very serious researchers over there, and they were convinced the couple was telling the truth. Very, very strange case.
You have sightings from all over the world. What country has more UFO reports?
Well, right now the United States has, in my files, the United States has to be almost, I think, number 1. Followed closely by the former Soviet Union, Russia, and a lot of the former Russian states they're now countries like the Ukraine. There are a lot of reports from there. And now in Europe, we have England, the UK, Spain, France. They're very and some of the Nordic countries, Sweden, Finland, a lot of reports from there. But in the United States, we do have a lot of cases. Recently, there was a study made at the 5 top states with the cases. I think California was number 1, followed by Texas, Pennsylvania, Florida. I don't know if North Carolina was there, but I know there's been a lot of cases in North Carolina, both Bigfoot and UFOs and different type of entities.
Albert, have you ever heard of the Judicola Stone in North Carolina? That's one of the sightings that has a lot of UFO activity. And it seems like that North Carolina does have a lot of sightings. Do you think it's because of the rich native heritage that North Carolina has?
I have never heard of that specific one, but there is definitely some sort of connection with high strangeness activity and humanoids and other type of reports with old, Native American or First Nation remains or burial grounds or ancient sites, which for some reason there's some sort of connection there. I don't know, maybe because of their spirituality or their, I don't know, but there is a high instance of incidents in Native American sites, especially in the West and also in the South.
Is there a specific time of year that there's more UFO sightings? Like, is it in the summer or winter, or does it make any difference?
Back in the 70s, there was a couple of researchers that made a study, and they came up with a different, one said it was in the winter, the other one in the summer, but I don't think there is. I think sometimes it's steady throughout the year. Sometimes it picks up, but it's not all at the same month every year. There's a peak, then it slows down, but not necessarily a specific month that is busier than the other one.
What is your best piece of evidence from a UFO report that just made all the difference to you in believing that 100% that it had to have happened?
Well, besides my personal experiences, I have talked to many local here witnesses that, for me, I don't really have a piece of a UFO or a body of an alien in my room. I wish I had, but I don't. But I think I have talked to a lot of people that they're sincere and they don't have an agenda, or that they have no reason to making up a story. I'm talking about people, the 80-year-old lady that saw a winged, like a Mothman type creature in her backyard by her mango tree here in Miami a couple years, maybe 10 years ago. I spoke to her. But another guy that lived in the East Everglades here in South Dade County, he saw a UFO or some kind of light, and he went to investigate. And what he saw with her, he described to me like several men riding what appeared to be ATVs or some kind of all-terrain vehicles, but different. To him, it looked like futuristic type ATV vehicles, riding and or really fast. And they were like, according to him, they were very tall men, physical, strong. And he went with another guy, a ranch hand or a helper that had in his farm or ranch. He shot at him. I mean, that's what, for some reason, that's what humans do a lot. They shoot at these things that we don't understand. But he shot at them. and they, of course, they took off. They rode the ATVs or whatever they were up into the UFO via a light beam or something, and then they disappeared. They left. This man, I talked to him in person and on the phone. And there's a lot of compelling cases worldwide. I'm not the only one with cases. There's a lot of investigators worldwide.
Do you think the government is hiding evidence of UFOs?
I think there's some branch maybe of the government that does keep track of these things. Maybe of course is a hidden branch, and we don't know if who they are. But I think this is being the government. I don't know if it's a big cover up, but I think that this is being kept. Somebody's keeping track, and somebody in the government. I don't think they just turn a blind eye at what's going on.
Could you tell us a little bit about the 2007 case from Poland where a humanoid was captured on video?
Oh, the one that, yeah, okay. The video was sent to me directly by the main investigator of the incident. I don't know if you've seen it, and it's in my website, and the website where I have all my reports. But I myself, I did not investigate it, but I was the first one here that received a copy of the video, of the tape. And have you seen it? And you see what it shows, that these people, they're having some kind of picnic or something, and two are laying on the ground covered with a blanket, and out of the woods, this short creature comes out or something, holding what appears to be some kind of wand or stick, and touches one of the persons. Now the weird thing is, whoever took that video did not see anything when it was first taken.
Yes, I noticed that a lot of times people take pictures and they're not seeing anything, and when they develop the picture or download it, then they see an object.
Yes. Either they see an object that they didn't see there. Recently, there's been several photos in South America, one in Argentina and one in Chile, with people photograph a scenery or a location, and after developing the picture or the photo, there's a figure there, some kind of humanoid shape. There's been a couple of those recently, and there was one in Quebec, Canada, this year in January, of a family taking a picture of they were in a park. When they developed the picture, it shows a strange humanoid figure, not exactly human. It appears to be wearing some kind of uniform. Now, I haven't put that case in my site yet, but I will soon. If you want, I don't know if I sent you some of the recent updates I had, but I'll send them to you again with the latest ones.
Yes, I've noticed that a lot of people are really terrified to talk about what they saw, and they're afraid to be ridiculed. My own father was afraid of being called crazy when we saw a UFO when we were little. So I'd like for that stigma to be taken away. Do you find out that people are worried about being thought of that they're crazy or something for talking about UFOs?
You're right. A lot of people are hesitant to share what they saw. I don't blame them. There's ridicule. There's a lot of people that really lost a lot of because they have come forward and said what they have seen. I think it's changing now. There's a different attitude. I noticed this for the last maybe 5 or 6 years or more. There's a changing attitude up there. There's more acceptance to this phenomenon of the witnesses, what they've seen. I have more people contacting me over the internet, on the phone more than ever, and some people are still regretfully, some people still don't want to share their experience. They go, Albert, I will, but I'm not ready to do this yet. I will contact you again. Sometimes I never hear from them again.
I'd like to know if you ever have children report seeing a UFO because, a lot of kids do see things and you have adults. So my question is, have you ever had any children report to you that they saw something that they couldn't explain and just wanted to tell somebody about it?
Yeah, and maybe 2 years ago, here is a local case. 2 or 3 years ago, I talked to a 12-year-old boy down in a small municipality here south of Miami called Homestead, pretty rural area. He was having some strange dreams, and in his dreams he will see some kind of entity or a humanoid figure that will stare at him and attempt to communicate with him. He will wake up and he thought it was just a very lucid dream. But then one day he went out at night, maybe to walk out with his dog, and he looked across the street. There was some in his house, very rural area. Across there was some trees. He saw a figure staring at him. It looked like a man wearing something green, a tight-fitting, maybe coverall, and he had something hanging around his neck that looked like a medallion or something glowing, shiny, and he just stared at him. And this boy, when I talked to him back then, he was 11 years old. Now, he was kind of very hesitant to tell me any more information. His parents tried to talk to him and to, tell me what happened. He said that after that, he ran into the house, and after that, he had more dreams that this same entity visited him in his bedroom. This is what I call bedroom visitations. And after that, I haven't talked to him again in a couple of years.
Tell us how you find out about these sightings. Do people call you directly, or do they contact you on your website, or perhaps you read about them in the paper? But, 17,000 reports, that's a whole lot. So tell us how that you find out about these investigations and about doing your work.
Sometimes I get referred. A lot of times they visit the if I can say it, the UFO info site. I have a lot of my my case summaries there. Almost they visit that site and they find my email there. And they contact me. Sometimes they contact me and they ask for my phone number, and I give them the number. Sometimes I just got to be careful sometimes, make sure the person's not, But they do call me and I talk to them in person. And a lot of other researchers, when they hear of a case that they cannot investigate because it's either here in the U.S., they'll give me the information and I contact them.
Why do so many people put hoaxes about UFOs on YouTube? and report hoax sightings of UFOs? Do you think they just have too much time on their hands, or they're practical jokers? I mean, why do you think they do that, Albert?
I don't know. It is annoying, and right away is BS, and I hate it. That's why I hesitate to put any videos in my website from YouTube. I do not trust 99% of the stuff they put in YouTube. If I have gotten a couple of videos, like the video from Poland, and a couple of local videos, and I keep those either in my website, or I haven't posted them yet. But I don't know what the deal is. It's mostly photoshopped and hoaxed from other countries. I don't know why they do that, but they have fun doing it for some reason. No.
I read that you have been working 30 years in the police force, and I was just wondering, do you plan on continuing researching in humanoids and UFO sightings, or, are you going to keep on doing that till you get 100? I mean, what are your plans?
Yeah, I'm about ready to retire soon, but I am still.
Do any other officers you work with ever report to you that they saw a UFO? And what do they think about your interest in UFOs?
I have many that have confided in me about incidents, personal incidents. At the beginning, there's a lot of, I was made fun of a lot of times, but personally, privately, they will go up to me and goes, Albert, I was just making fun, but I did see something, or my husband or my wife did see something, and I do believe what you believe, but I just don't want to tell everybody like you do. A lot of people believe, but they don't want everybody else to know they do believe. And I was one of the first ones where I worked that came out and said that I believed it, and I don't care if you knew I did or not.
What are you working on now that we would like to hear about? Any important cases going on?
What I'm doing right now, I'm working on updates. There was a recent case from, I don't have it right in front of me, but there's been a lot of recent cases from Canada lately, mostly Quebec, and dealing with humanoids. For some reason, there's been a lot of activity there. There was a case where there was involving, this is in January of this year, in Quebec. I don't have the summary right in front of me, but these people were visited. The husband walked into his garage, and there he encountered a tall humanoid figure. Not your typical gray type. It was really weird looking figure. I was looking at the image that he drew, and it was a really strange looking humanoid. The head seemed to be like it had like 3 bulges, 1 in the middle and 2 on each side, dangling arms, and appeared to be wearing some kind of uniform with lapels on the side and all that. But it was really interesting. After that, him and his wife ran out, and right over their house there was a disc hovering, and right below the disc there was a light, or some kind of cone-shaped red light shining right on top of their house. This case was investigated by there's a group up in Quebec, Canada. It's called GARPAN. And they've done a lot of investigations lately, and there's a lot of information coming from up there.
2 of the big UFO cases are what happened in Roswell in 1947, and also what happened over in Great Britain. Do you believe something happened in Roswell?
I think something did occur there, and I think there was more than one crash. I think there's maybe at least 2 crashes, and in the same vicinity, but not at the same spot. This is my take. I know a couple investigators that visited the location. They have a lot of contacts there. A local guy, he went to New Mexico. He practically lived in the desert near Roswell. He did a lot of investigation there himself. He even spoke to one of the original witnesses. This guy, I can't remember his name now, but he was placed in a mental institution according to him, by the government. After the incident, after he talked, they say he contacted too many people. He was placed in a mental institution for what Hank told me, at least a year, and he was released. He was the one that worked at the radio station. Either the one that worked I think one of the guys that worked at the radio station in Roswell that when they were doing the broadcast, it was interrupted of the incident. But I think that Roswell, something did occur there. Whatever crashed there, I'm thinking it was not of this world.
Do you think they recovered any bodies from the wreck at Roswell?
I think that there is bodies, not human bodies, that they were recovered, and I think they're still being held somewhere. And not only in the U.S., I think other countries have also recovered extraterrestrials or whatever they are. And I think that we did recover back in 1947, and maybe not only 1947. I'm thinking before 1947 and after 1947, several instances.
The other UFO incident happened in Great Britain, and that was the Rendlesham Forest case. Nick Pope, Jim Penniston, and John Burroughs have all come out with a new book recently about the incident at Rendlesham Forest. And I want to ask you, do you think something happened there and that it was covered up?
Yes.
What do you think is significant about the case that will be, I think, bigger than Roswell? What are your comments?
I haven't read this latest book yet. I have it, but I haven't been able to read it. I have like a stack of books I have to read, and I don't have the time. But the Rendlesham is one of the most important incidents as far as ufology in the past 40 years. I think there were several incidents that occurred there, and I think after that there were some kind of psych ops, some kind of the intelligence community, being U.S. intelligence, maybe CIA, I don't know who, was involved with feeding some disinformation to some of the witnesses. But I think what happened was that there were some either extraterrestrial craft or craft from some, who knows where, maybe another dimension, I don't know. They visited Rendlesham. They were interested in the nuclear weapons that were stored there. They hovered over the nuclear storage area, and they shone a huge object. Is shown a beam of light right directly into the nuclear storage area. I think that's what the main reason they were there, because of the nuclear weapons that were there.
It was upsetting to me to think that these men could not access their medical records. Do you think that the reason why they're being withheld is because it's something about national security? I mean, what is your opinion to why they can't see their medical records?
The only excuse they might have is national security. Because it will reveal something that would affect national security. What? I don't know. Like I tell everybody that contacts me, I don't have the answers, and I'm going to give you an answer of what happened to you. I could only just give you advice, and I could record your case for posterity. That way, it will be known in the future. But I really don't have any answers. But I think the only reason they will withhold that is because for national security purposes.
You know, our government is always testing secret equipment, new airplanes, new jets, new fighters. Do you think that perhaps what was sighted at Rendlesham Forest could be one of ours, or it could have been maybe something from Russia? I mean, is that a possibility?
Well, it might be. It might be, and I don't think it was our government, the aircraft that was involved, or any other terrestrial government. My opinion. As far as their radiation or effects with the UFOs, my advice is, if you see one and do not run towards it. Yes, be careful, because I know a lot of cases and people have been injured or they've been sickened because close proximity to UFOs or humanoids. I always urge people to use caution, unless you're contacted by a certain type of humanoid that's friendly and approaches you. I had many cases like.
Are there any frightening humanoid reports that you can recall and tell us about?
Of course, especially this happens a lot with the type of cases that I call the. I'm sure you heard these cases too. The shadow people, the shadow encounters. They bring a type of fear with them that is uncanny, is very hard to control. This happened to me once. I was asleep in bed. All of a sudden, I woke up in a panic. I looked next to me, and there was a figure darker than black. It was like the room was black, but this thing was. You could see the outline because it was so black. All I can do was yell, scream. I was alone in the room. I screamed. I picked up a pillow and I threw it at it, but I was terrified. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was sweating. But yes, some of these encounters are terrifying.
There was something else at Rendlesham Forest that my friend Derek Savory talked to me about, and that was the falling stones that just landed in front of people. Did you hear anything about that?
No, it's not. And there's another thing they have seen in the vicinity of Rendlesham Forest, which is even stranger. They have seen what appears to be some kind of bipedal wolf-type creature. I don't want to say wolfman, but that's exactly what it looks like. Bipedal canine, human-shaped wolf. It has been seen in that same vicinity.
Wolves. Well, I didn't hear anything about that, but so you didn't hear anything about the stones?
Not exactly. Maybe it's in this book that I haven't read that, but I haven't heard about that exactly. No, but I did get a book from an investigator named John Hansen from England.
I know him.
Well, he's written like a chronology of incidents in the UK, starting from back in World War II. He's up to 1986 now already, and he's the one that mentions the incidents with the werewolf type creatures, which these type of creatures been seen here in the United States also.
I guess I missed that part because I don't remember anything about the wolves, but I have read some of his books. Well, my next question is,
Yes.
why are you doing this? I know you're not getting paid anything for this research, so tell me, what is the reason why you are doing this thankless job of investigating humanoids?
Many times I have thought, why am I doing this? And I had, it hasn't really been, personally, it's been satisfying for me. I've been involved with this, but it hasn't really helped me as far as relationships or, you know what I mean? It really hasn't. I guess I haven't been that, I know so many persons that are involved with this same type of material, like UFOs or paranormal activity, which they find a partner or a wife or a girlfriend which are into the same thing. I haven't been that lucky. I don't know.
There you go, girls. He might be available, so if you like UFOs, give him a call.
Yes. And here there's there's a lady called Mary Margaret Zimmer. She's the MUFON representative here in South Florida, and she's an ex-teacher, and her husband's been involved with UFOs, and she has collected a great deal of material here from South Florida and all of Florida, a lot of humanoid cases. And I'm not a member of MUFON. I used to be. I'm kind of independent now, but I go to her meetings when I get a chance.
I just came back from a conference in Eureka Springs at the Ozark 2014 UFO conference, and I was really surprised at the amount of women that were there. Women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and even older wanting to learn about UFOs. That was a real surprise.
And the local meetings is the same thing. There's always young people which are beginning to learn, or they're curious, and there's the older people that had experiences themselves, and they've been interested. I know guys there that are 75, 80 years old, and they come to the meetings.
With a full-time job working in the police force, then tell me, how do you find time to do all this investigating of humanoids? When do you get time to do it?
Every day I try to do a little bit. I don't think I'll ever finish. I have books to read, stuff to compile. I translate cases from other countries, from Spain, France. I'm just very busy all the time, and I try to find the time, but I have a family, and I have to find time for them too. I think it's important, you know.
Where can we find information about your website and all the work that you're doing?
Yes, you could visit me and look at all the cases that I have there at ufoinfo.com, and then go to the humanoid section, and you'll see my picture there, and you see all the. I catalog the cases by year, back from BC, way before 4000 BC up to 2014. I try to update it every 6 months or so when I have a lot of material to update it with. The oldest 2010 through 2014 years, I try to update that as much as possible. I'm going to update that tomorrow, so you can see the new cases. But and if anyone wants to contact me, my email is in there, and it's Garuda, Garuda 79 at AT&T.net.
I want to thank you, Albert Rosales, for your wonderful interview tonight, and I want to thank all the listeners for tuning in to Skywatchers. And for more information about Albert, you can go on Skywatchers Radio Show on Facebook and find out all the links. And thank you, Albert. I know you don't usually do this. I really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. I really enjoy myself. I usually don't do this too much, but I did really enjoy myself.
You have been listening to Skywatchers with Deborah Jane East. Contact us, skywatchersfacebook.com, for more information.